Alrighty, my gosh, guys, it's been so freaking long since I've done an episode of No Fat Chicks that I literally have no idea what episode this is anymore. I was gonna say, no, welcome back to No Fat Chicks episode 12 or however many episodes I had, but I really have no idea. It's just pretty pathetic of me. But I hope you all have been good. I wonder how many fans we got now. I mean, we all know how bad it was before. If people are still listening, there was like a baker's dozen maybe. And now I doubt there's even that. So wonder how it's going to go this time around. Still trying to pull up and figure out how many followers I have. There it is. 17 subscribers, guys. Can you believe that? We're soaring high now. Oh my god. Oh my god. This would be episode 19? Holy shit. Gotta pick this back up. I'm only on 19? I feel like that's good, but like, wow. We're pacing for so much more. The last one I did was like a month ago, or even maybe even longer, 2 months ago. So this episode we got David Watkins on, and a lot to talk about. We couldn't fit nearly enough in because we know like, no one's gonna listen to 3 hours of this. Jeez, if people have a hard time listening to Joe Rogan for 3 hours, they're definitely gonna have a hard time listening to me for 3 hours. Jesus Christ. So we're gonna talk a lot about sports. Get ready for it. If you're not a sports fan, you're not going to like this conversation. I mean, just kidding. You probably are. Because, let's be honest, sports is great, but we're better than sports. Me and Dave and I. And I think you're going to get a lot out of it if you do tune in. So, I take back what I immediately just said and regret saying it. I'm a fool for saying it. Apologize. First thing I know is to apologize when you're wrong and identify when you're wrong. I was wrong. If you're not a sports fan, you should listen to this episode. Honestly. But one thing I want to shout out to is Jade. Baby Jade. My brother's dog. My sister's dog. Nicole and Evan. Delaney's dog has had a surgery yesterday on her ACL. Things went well. She's adorable. I'll post a little photo about it on YouTube, and you guys can take a look at her. But she's doing good. ACL's going to heal right up. We'll have her back in, I don't know, about 4 to 6 weeks. She'll be pumping. I'm just kidding. Probably next season. She'll be back next season. But she definitely had Dr. Andrews working on her. Best of the best. And we flew her out to Birmingham, Alabama. She got stitched up. We'll have her back in no time. But for right now, the family's going to be down without a big, musky dog. She's just going to be moping around. She's got a stitched up back left leg. And so shout out to Jade for being a trooper. She's the best dog ever. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Plenty more to come. Dave is my buddy from way back when. Like, we used to give this guy shit back in 4th grade. 4th grade. We'd make him look like he's graffitiing the wall. Kind of fucked up, but it was fun stuff. It was funny stuff. Dave's a character. He loves his sports. And we're going to have him on so often because there's so much to talk about. We do even get to dive into music, so just be tuned for that. Might even have him on tomorrow, talk some more music. But I'm excited for you guys to listen. Enjoy. And if there's anything you want us to talk about or any comments you think we're wrong, or call us out because there's some predictions, post a comment. I'll read them. Because there's 17 followers now, man. There might even be a comment. Who knows? Be exciting. Oh my god. Enjoy, you fools, clowns, you dingus, you muppets. Have fun.
What's going on, man?
How are you?
Close the door, please.
What'd you say?
Ask Kelly if she can close the door.
I was like, damn, already bossing me around. Just tell me like it is. How's your morning going?
Okay. My morning's doing well. When are we gonna start recording? You're just gonna tell me?
I just like start recording now, just in case we catch anything funny while we're catching up, and then I usually end up using the whole piece of audio. So I just put it there. You're being recorded now, if that's okay with you.
Alright, cool.
I was just taking a peek at your web. Dude, on on your website, like I would be so down because I noticed you don't have the NHL tab. You have like NFL, college football, NBA. I know for a fact my brother would be so down to be like your MLB insider, and I could easily do your hockey. That would be so much fun. I could give you hockey stuff all the time.
Yeah, that'd be great, and then that'd be great to just talk about it, get some audio, if we're in the right place at the right time, some video about all of those things. But yeah, that's exactly what I planned on doing, is just trying to get people who know those sports a lot more than I do before I start getting those tabs up there, because Lord knows, I mean, I can start talking hockey, but that's about it. It's just going to be a little bit.
Well, no, I think you can contribute once there's like an established theme, and you can contribute. But I think like your head's at so many different different areas of sports that like I think that you don't have the time to watch all different sports. I'll help you. I'll help you get some good takes for the NHL. No problem.
Okay, especially baseball. Nobody has time for that.
Dude, I seriously, that 18-inning game in the World Series, I went to bed in the 15th inning. I was like, I'm sorry, baseball. I'm sorry, Dodgers. I love you guys, but my life has to go on. You guys are being selfish right now.
Yeah, I went to bed around the 15th inning, too. I was watching on the Gamecast on the ESPN app, just trying to figure out who's going to win, because to be honest with you, Andrew, I got tired of all these bandwagon Dodger fans, and I really wanted the Red Sox to just like sweep them real quick so it could be over. It seems as if the Dodgers got some of the fakest fans in all the sports.
I mean, when you live in the market, you're going to see the worst of it.
Very true.
Well, first, welcome to No Fat Chicks, bud. David freaking Watkins. I haven't talked to you in forever.
Right.
So we have so much to catch up on. What we were just talking about is obviously you have like this awesome project you're working on now. So what would you consider it? So you have the website, which I'll post in the when I post this, I'll put it in the bio below. But ontheblocksports.com. No weird spelling, just straight ontheblocksports.com. Tell me a little bit like what you're trying to go for here. Obviously we jumped in a little bit, but people that maybe start listening have no idea what this is. So give them a breakdown.
Well, it's supposed to be a break from just your outside regular just news reporting. It seems as if most blogs are just putting a bunch of statistics at you, throwing a bunch of stats at you, and basically just reporting the news as shallow as it gets. So what I'm trying to do with On the Block is I'm just trying to share with the world my conspiracies. I'm somebody who is a narcissist when it comes to sports. I don't believe the fronts that a lot of people put out into the media.
Yeah.
I think a lot of sports leagues have a lot of news coverages that are leaked, and then they're suddenly taken off the airs, and then other news coverages are put back on. I think there are patterns out there that show us something completely opposite than what the news is telling us when it comes to sports, and I just would love to be here to exploit it all.
Ah, nice. Okay, so like I think too that there's always like a narrative. It's just like there's always a narrative that they're trying to drive home. They're always trying to to raise awareness for one story, and then just kind of like avoid your attention from something else because it could lead to like weird thought, or they're just trying to morph your opinions and stuff. So they're always trying to like drive home some certain type of narrative. Whenever it's like whenever you're watching a different type of sport and you're watching, ESPN people talk about it, I feel like, are you really giving me your own opinion, or are you just giving me what your producers want you to talk about? So just give me some real shit, and when there's a good conspiracy that may or not be true, like we should absolutely dive into those waters and talk about what's in the realm of possibility.
Oh, of course, especially when you start looking at ESPN. Of course, there's other networks that cover sports, but ESPN is by far the worldwide leader in sports. They do the most out of any other network in terms of statistics, sports reporting, commentating, all day, all long. It really doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
And ESPN has contracts with all of these sports leagues, and they want to keep their contracts with all of these sports leagues. They want to keep their inside connections with all of these sports leagues. So quite a bit of times, their narrative is going to be of interest to the sport leagues, to the benefit of the sports leagues. It's not all the time are they going to be going against sport leagues. They're not going to be talking about how baseball is boring people to not watch it. So the whole nation is really not interested in regular season baseball. How much it really doesn't make sense to go 180 games plus, and then for it to be decided in 3 short playoff matchups, I think that's quite ridiculous. What is the point of the 180 baseball games?
162 to be exact, Dave. That's the regular season.
162.
Either way, I agree with you. Either way, it could be 380. I don't give a shit. You're playing too much baseball.
Yeah.
I think they could restructure the playoff system, like maybe let a couple more teams in, have the playoffs be a little longer, because I think playoff baseball is pretty exciting, unless it's 18 innings and nobody can get a base hit. But I do feel like you need to have a long season with baseball because you just need a huge sample size. At bats, your average is going to be like 300, and if you average 300, you might be a career Hall of Famer because you need just a ton of samples, a ton of at bats and appearances and games to really get these averages, because baseball is so statistic driven that you have to have this long season to separate the good teams from the bad. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of teams that are pretty even in the hunt, and they haven't had enough games to really separate themselves. Because there's some really, really bad teams in the MLB, but then there's some decent teams that finally lose their stride, late in the season after 130 games, like the last 2 months of the year. A lot of teams start to drop off. Like you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks this year, they were in first place the majority of the season. The Rockies and the Dodgers were chasing them, and the last 4 weeks of the season, they took a shit. And the Rockies and Dodgers passed them, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So I want to figure out how you can restructure baseball's season without not giving a teams enough time to prove themselves, I guess, and not prove themselves. But I completely agree with you. There needs to be a restructure of the baseball playoffs. They're exciting, they're short, and the regular season's too long in my eyes.
But wouldn't the other side of that be you would like to showcase your league when as many of your teams are playing its best? So when the Arizona Diamondbacks were playing their best, and the Dodgers were chasing them. And wouldn't it have been best to go into an expanded playoffs around that time and have those teams show themselves true in the playoffs and not in the regular season?
It's a great point. I think maybe shortening it a month, giving 20 games less, 130, 140 games in the regular season. That's still a shit ton of regular season games, and that gives you a whole extra month to do these. Because what you're saying basically is the month of late August and September. Mostly September is when that happened, when the Dodgers kind of caught up to the Diamondbacks, and when it was really close. So yeah, I agree. That would make way better TV if they extended the season just for a month. Shorten the season 20 games. Jesus, there's still so much baseball.
Yeah, and it's we're going into such a point in time in this age where attention span is something to definitely cater to. Especially if we're talking about gathering more fans. Now, a lot of the baseball fans that I talk to at work or just out, it seems as if they don't care about the progression of baseball. It seems as if they feel whoever loves baseball, and that's the way it's going to be. Which makes zero sense to me. I don't understand why, as a fan, you wouldn't want more people to be in on the excitement that you feel.
It's a loser mentality, Dave. It's what we call loser mentality. You want to stick it with just the baseball players? What a loser. Or baseball fans? What a loser. You got to have more fans. Look what hockey's doing. They put the commissioner, Gary Bettman, into the Hall of Fame while he's still commissioner because even though people boo him and he does all this stuff that people don't like, he literally has put NHL on the map, and it's making so much more revenue than it was before he came into office. So they recognize for what he's done for the sport, and they're trying to get more and more people involved with the sport, and that type of mentality for a baseball fan to have is a loser mentality.
Yeah, and it's kind of just like an off the wall theory that I just have after you said he got booed, but it almost makes me feel like as a commissioner, If you're not being booed every time you go to a public setting, then you're not doing your job.
Why?
It's almost like it's the commissioner's job to forcibly move a sports league in the way of progression that fans don't necessarily get. They don't really get the vision. That's almost your job, is to have a vision that much longer than the attention span of that of the average consumer. Much like Roger Goodell with the NFL, a lot of people can argue that the NFL is in the best place that it's ever been right now. And we just went through a huge offseason with kneeling being a thing. They're doing quite a bit of rule changes and stuff like that. If anything, all of those scandals and all of those headlines just make the NFL that much more of a colorful league right now. Because right now the competition in the NFL, because of the rule changes, is off of the wall. To watch the NFL, there's maybe 2 teams in the NFL right now, or 3 teams, that are unwatchable. Most of the NFL is very competitive right now. Most of the NFL is getting after... Which teams?
Yeah, which teams are unwatchable in your eyes? Who suck? Who can't you stand?
The Oakland Raiders. For me, the Tennessee Titans. I think Marcus Mariota is not an NFL quarterback, and I think they're really exploiting the mistake they made in their first-round draft pick in Tennessee right now. And not the Buffalo Bills. Those are the 3 teams that are unwatchable in the NFL.
Buffalo's bad. I felt so bad. I thought they were going to be able to like maybe put the squad together, and then they got to the playoffs and they broke the band up. Everybody left.
Yeah. I watched quite a bit of college football, so I had the opportunity to watch Josh Allen, their first-round pick, play at Wyoming last year. And while he is a physical specimen that would blow anybody's mind, I really didn't understand what they saw in him to just take over the reins of such a offensively challenged organization, especially their head coach being more of a defensive mind. It doesn't seem as if they even have anything there to support such a young quarterback that makes quite a bit of mistakes, quite a bit of college mistakes in the NFL. And, what you do in the first round is you draft people who are making NFL decisions in college, not still making horrible college decisions, not even at a top team at Wyoming, for goodness sakes. He should have been like Carson Wentz at North Dakota, just killing everybody, killing all the competition. Why? Because he's NFL ready. So I just really didn't get that one at all.
Well, I think maybe if they put an offensive line in front of him, and then in a couple of years he'll get the timing down. Maybe 1 or 2 more years where he can get the timing down. Because you look at the Rams and Goff, like he wasn't what he is now, but they had to build it. He had to get better with the system, and I don't think he's had too many changes. That's the other thing that sucks for a young quarterback is like it's also like if they have a new coordinator, if they can't like have the same system being run, he's going to be learning a new language every single year, every other year. So like maybe we'll see him do better in a couple of years, but it's just hard this day and age. So people are expecting you to come in right out of college and tear it up, and if you don't, then you might not. Then you suck, and it's like, damn, man. It used to be you rode the pine for 2 years, got a veteran in front of you, taught you the ways, and then the game speed started to slow down because you saw so many reps, not only in practice but during games sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if it's coming out of college and tearing it up. I think it's more or less coming out of college and showing competency. Now, with Jared Goff, he came out of Cal balling. There's a reason why he came out early. He didn't come out because he was a senior or anything like that. Jared Goff came out at a very young age, especially with a team that didn't really have a lot of national airtime on TV, playing late in the night on Saturdays at Berkeley. Jared Goff came to a team that moved from St. Louis their first year to a head coach with Jeff Fisher, who was a very defensive-minded head coach who I believe was only on staff strictly for the move, since he had already moved teams before with the Houston Oilers to the Tennessee Titans. And then Sean McVay comes in with his offensive mindedness, and Jared Goff the very next year takes off. At my dad's church, actually, I'm known for calling Jared Goff being one of the better quarterbacks in the league after his horrible first year, because I saw that dude have a heavenly touch at Berkeley. So for me, just watching college football for quite a while and then watching all of these quarterbacks go into the NFL, there's just a certain type of decision making, a certain type of ball that a quarterback throws, just a certain type of headspace that a quarterback is in college that translates to the NFL. I don't see quarterbacks change from college to the NFL. There's been one quarterback that I've seen change for the better, and I would say that would be Dak Prescott coming from college to the NFL. He's definitely changed for the better coming into college, and he's definitely accepting the professional role as a NFL quarterback. Josh Allen, however, when you got somebody that big with that many long limbs and different things like that, for me, it's just he was just way too squirrely in college. He didn't show control over his body, let alone control over his own decision makings.
It's the scouting report, like the. There's probably one guy in the organization that noticed that too, and they tried to warn him, like, guys, I don't know if we should pull the trigger on this guy. He's kind of a squirrel. Doesn't really have control of his body. Watch this replay. He stumbles right here, and he's just walking, guys. Are we sure we want to get this guy? He can't even walk onto the field.
All right.
And he's just sitting there. Yeah. He's just sitting there. I fucking told you guys. I told you guys.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody that big playing in Buffalo, it's hard to pass up because being in that cold, like you said, with a horrible offensive line, he's going to get hit, and he's going to have to stay tough. 16 games is not a lot of games compared to other leagues, but 16 games in the NFL, it's a long time.
Yeah, it is. It's a lifetime. I tell you, you can literally 1 year you can burn your impression into the league for all eternity if you suck.
Right.
What do you think? Because like my favorite fan groups happen to be like the worst teams. Like the Bills Mafia and the Browns fans are my favorite fans group. Like I want to be there when they're starting to do well. I like jump on their bandwagon because I'm like, yes, finally they have something to cheer for, and they just get so insane about it. So how do you feel about the Bills Mafia and like the Browns fans having that 0-16 parade and stuff?
I mean, and even then, I'll throw in the Raiders fans because they've been horrible for so long, but yet so just the Raider fans are hyped about their horrible organization. But I mean, I don't get it, to be perfectly honest. I chose a team like the Baltimore Ravens, and my ownership has done nothing but good things for me while being a fan for them. And I don't get it. It is fun to see. I can see why you would cheer for it, but for me, it's hard for me not to see just the inevitable collapse of any little progression they may have as an organization. I think from the ownership down with all of those teams, there's just a pattern of bad decision making. Yeah. And sooner or later, they're going to let their fans down because the issue is not who the owner hires, it's the owner himself.
Well, I think you're onto something because you just got to look at the way organizations are completely ran from top down, like just the way everything is done, from how they bring people into the office, how do they show them around, like the way the game, like the team is organized, like the facilities matter, and it's just a whole different side of the game people don't consider. And like you look at the Chargers' old facility down in San Diego, it was dog shit. It was not good.
Oh yeah.
And then the guy comes in and they had better equipment in college than they did in the NFL. Like you're not gonna want to play for that organization for long or like look at the team the same way. So I don't know. I think you're right. You're onto something with how teams are ran by the owners. I think when it comes to the Bills, like you don't get why the fans, like you said, you don't get it. How fans can root for them and they keep letting them down. Well, I think in some instances, like there's nothing else to root for. Like when it comes to the Bills, you got really nothing up there. There's not a lot to do.
Yeah,
it's cold.
I don't know. I come from the state of mind that I have one team that is a local team for me, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. I didn't grow up with my dad being a sports fan or any of my family members being a sports fan, a local sports fan. So I didn't inherit any sports fandom. It was really hard for me to be a San Diego Charger fan growing up because, to be honest, I thought all the fans were corny and I didn't want to hang out with them. I didn't really get it. But so when it comes to local loyalty, I think we're doing all of these bad businessmen that are owners such a disfavor to like their decision making. If Cleveland Brown fans were to be like, you know what, we're tired of this. we're not even going to be Cleveland Brown fans anymore. Obviously, Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, would do something different. Maybe step away from making decision makings. I mean, just looking at what his team does, it's hard to think that it's just the people he's put in charge that are failing. He's fired 5 different head coaches since he's bought the team in 2012. He's had 4 different general managers, making a total of 13 first-round picks. That's only in the first round since 2012, 6 years ago. 13 first-round picks. Striking out on 8 of them, with the 4 not striking out in the last 2 years, so we don't even know if they're going to strike out on those.
Oh, they're going to strike out. They're the Browns.
Yeah, and it seems as if they got a thing, in that organization with quarterbacks. Obviously, he knows that he needs a quarterback to win, but it's like they've had 22 different quarterbacks in the last 6 years. How does that happen? Is it the owner putting the pressure? We need another quarterback. They drafted Deshaun Kaiser last year out of Notre Dame. Now, Deshaun Kaiser is a very young man. They know exactly what they're getting into drafting Deshaun Kaiser. But he's a big dude. He's a physical specimen, and he actually balled at Notre Dame for a little bit. They gave him 1 year last year, and they traded him away to the Green Bay Packers. It seems as if there's a very short leash in that organization, but there's not the platform to succeed. Like, it does not seem like the people who can give everybody the tools to succeed are not giving them the tools to succeed right now. It seems as if everybody's on a very short leash. There is no patience, but there is all the expectation in the world in that camp. Now, on the Raiders, on the other hand, I really feel like Mark Davis isn't interested in winning at all. I feel like he just wants to get to Vegas and cash, and I feel like the Raiders, out of any other team in the NFL, are taking full advantage of their fan base. Now, the Cleveland Browns, Jimmy Haslam wants to win. Whoever is the owner of the Buffalo Bills, he wants to win. Those teams come out every Sunday and they're trying to win. It's embarrassing not to win for them.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing watching them try to win, but you gotta keep going with the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders, it seems like they don't care. They really don't care. And they show us they don't care by trading away Khalil Mack, by trading away Amari Cooper, by signing a quarterback that they really aren't sure of to a $100 million contract, $160 million contract, signing a head coach who hasn't coached for 10 years to a $100 million contract. It really makes no sense other than headlines. Headlines. They bring in John Gruden because they want to keep that fan base. They know the next couple. This is what I thought when they signed Marshawn Lynch, who is a good running back, but he's not a starting running back in the NFL anymore. When they signed Marshawn Lynch, when they brought on John Gruden, it told me it's going to be some rough years here in Oakland. We need our fan base to believe in something that has brought us some sort of happiness before. So we're going to bring in Marshawn Lynch, a hometown boy, so the Oakland people feel some sort of connect to it. We're going to bring in John Gruden to bring back some of the glory days with the Oakland Raiders. And hopefully they can hold on to that hope until we get to Vegas. And when they get to Vegas, it's all over. They're going to cash in. Mark Davis is, in terms of revenue from his NFL team, he is the poorest owner in the NFL.
You're broke.
So all he's doing is waiting for that cash cow to come in when he hits Vegas. When he hits Vegas, it's game over. They're going to sell out all sorts of games. And they're going to sell merchandise, all sorts of things.
I was going to say, do you want to go to a game? But I haven't even been to an Arizona Cardinals game out here. I just don't I don't go to a lot of football games. I don't know. Not my thing. But I think you're right. I think that there's so many fans are just going to pour into that fan. Like, it's a new football team in their area. You saw what they did with Vegas. I know, granted, Vegas was just a wagon, like the beginning of the year. They just came on strong, and that's an instant way to build a fan base, is just have a good product right away. So, but I don't think that's going to be the case with the Raiders. I think they're going to move, and they're going to be hot garbage, but it's the football. It's football, so it's like everybody loves football. They're going to love it no matter what for initially.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because the LA Rams are going to be coming to town. The New England Patriots are going to be coming to town. Everybody's favorite team is going to be coming to Vegas, and people are going to be lining up to watch them. And Vegas as a city was so excited before the Golden Knights played one match there. They were so excited to have a professional sports team, just the people there. Forget the gambling and all that stuff. The people there were so excited just to have a professional sports team. When the Raiders come, they're going to be even that much more excited to have that going on there. And people are going to show up. They're going to buy all sorts of new apparel. All the Oakland Raider fans, they're going to have to buy the new Las Vegas Raider apparel, especially if they're following them. And most Raider fans are going to follow them. They're loyal for some reason. Maybe it's the cliche around, what being a Raider fan means and the toughness involved in that. But the Oakland Raiders they're going to cash in, and they're going to look exactly like you said. They're going to look like a hot mess when they get to Oakland.
Hot garbage.
Their owner is way too involved, and he's not his daddy. He is not Al Davis.
He's not his daddy. I'm gonna coach.
Just look at his haircut.
Yeah, those people. There's a weird looking family, and that guy looks like he's actually killed people before. Yeah,
most rich people look weird. You know, it's like they grew up with some sort of vengeance because of how weird they look, and then that vengeance gave them a lot of money.
And then their hair thinned out, turned white, and somebody gave him a bowl cut.
Yeah, he loves it though because he's rich. He don't care.
Yeah,
he looks in the mirror, look like $1 billion.
Yeah, 100%. I wonder what it's like to be that rich. Just like the matter of like, do you even take feedback anymore when you're that rich? Like, hey man, I think you should do this. Man, fuck you, I'm rich.
Yeah. If you want to keep being rich, you definitely do. And you definitely take that feedback.
I don't know. Like, look at him. No one's giving him feedback, and he's still cashing in everywhere he goes.
It seems as if he's not letting the football people run his organization. It seems as if he's too much in. If you look at the NFL and you look at owners usually stay out of that. They hire people that they trust to run the football operations. There's a reason why there's that many positions. Those positions become very worthless. They all become essentially consultants when the person making all the decisions is going to be the owner, like in Dallas with Jerry Jones. Everybody a part of that organization is just a consultant to Jerry Jones. Eventually, he is the one who's going to make the decision on whether or not to cut a player, keep a player, start a player, draft a player. And that's, the Cowboys are putting a decent product on the field. Maybe Jerry Jones is a great football mind, but a lot of these billionaires made their...
What do you think about Kraft?
Robert Kraft? I think he's a smart man. He hired the right people and set the right... a good owner is going to ask himself, what can I do to help these people succeed at their job the best way they could possibly succeed? And it seems as if Robert Kraft is just giving the people he trusts everything that they need to succeed. He's not doubting them. When he does doubt them, he doubts them in a way that is productive or progressive. And the only way I can assume that is because of how powerful that organization is. People come into that organization and shape up. They had Aaron Hernandez on their team, for goodness sakes, making plays for a very long time, keeping all that stuff outside of practice, outside of the games. All that stuff that he was doing, he put it away when he came into the New England Patriots organization. So we got Rob Gronkowski. He's a character himself, but he's a Patriot more than anything when he's playing football. So it seems as if Robert Kraft has definitely orchestrated beautifully and let people work, let people do their job, let people just get after it, and he supports them.
He's done a good job of like building a foundation of this is how we do things here in New England.
Yeah, and other owners too, like in Pittsburgh, in Baltimore. Right now, the Rams have definitely put together something extremely solid, so we'll see where that goes. But I would say Pittsburgh and New England for sure. Their ownership has showed that they would do whatever it takes to win football games, meaning take criticism, understand where they're wrong, where anybody could be wrong at any given point in time. And you look at the Steelers, they haven't won a championship in a while, but they haven't fired their head coach. It's been 12 years since Mike Tomlin has been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Give him some. They give him shots. They give him some chances.
Yeah, I mean, how else are you supposed to do it? How else is your organization going to give it a shot as a whole if you don't give them some time to work together? It doesn't make sense if you're just firing everybody week to or year to year. Todd Haley had since January 10 months before he got fired. How crazy is that? You got 10 months to prove yourself. Now you're out.
Yeah, it's you can't do that in the NFL. You can't do that in any sport.
Yeah, and Jimmy Haslam is talking about it's because of the internal discord. So what he saw was something very normal in competition or very normal in a team dynamic was two people who were arguing. He didn't like it, so he fired them. Now, I'm sorry, but in something as hard to do as resurrect the Cleveland Browns to a winning organization, you're going to have people arguing. That's for the better.
I don't know if it's making them not work to better. Like if it's making them not work together, then yeah, you got to fire them. But I don't know. I don't know what goes on in that organization, and I just like watching the fans support them no matter what. Diehard fans, no matter what. They're like the minute they get any whiff of success, they're like, yeah. And you look at
and they won their first game and went nuts.
You look at like people who've seen a lot of success lately. I see this at my work all the time. People that hit high numbers, and when the minute they don't have such a high number, but it's still a really good number that people that aren't as successful wish they could get to. Like as soon as the Patriots don't do something amazing, like just crush it and roll through everybody in the playoffs. Because let's be honest, every time you go to the playoffs, it goes through New England. They always have home field advantage. Like I just want to see what those fans do. They're gonna squirm. They're gonna bitch. They're gonna. I bet you they jump ship. They're gonna jump right down Belichick's, Brady's throat. Or I feel like maybe not them because they've done so much success. But I want to see how their fans react when they have a shit squad. Like I bet you they're so used to having success that they don't know how to react when they go, 4 and 12. Have a shit year.
Yeah, the thing is, for me, and this is just my assumption, I don't think the Patriots are going to be a team like that. At the very least, I think they'll be a middle-of-the-pack team, and that'll be their bottom that we see from the Patriots.
Yeah.
That'll be their rock bottom is like an 8-8 team. That's when it's like, all right, something's wrong in New England. It's when they're like an 8-8 team. But when it comes to game plans, now even if Bill Belichick isn't there, it's very obvious that they're conditioning Josh McDaniel to be their head coach in waiting right now. Since they brought him back on, he was going to take the job at Indianapolis, and then was like, nah, I'm gonna stay in New England. And Bill Belichick is getting old, so it seems as if they're passing the torch. And Bill Belichick is doing Robert Kraft a favor, basically teaching everybody there his way, showing everybody how to do it. And if Bill Belichick isn't a head coach, it would be great to see him as a general manager, president of football operations, something still in there, a consultant, something still in there. But as far as game planning, that's what the Patriots do better than anyone else. They exploit matchups that are in their favor, and matchups that would be in the other team's favor, they focus in and they hone in on stopping those matchups. They're very real with themselves and the team that they have. It's not like they're going to have some sort of false, view on what's going on in Patriots camp. They're going to look at themselves and say, look, we're not good at this position. So what we're going to do is we're going to disguise coverage, saying, showing people maybe we haven't taken care of these mistakes we have. And then we're going to slide coverage and we're going to confuse people. We're going to hit quarterbacks. We're going to hit tight ends coming out. And when they played the Chiefs, one of the Chiefs' biggest threats to the Patriots was Travis Kelce, their tight end, because at linebacker, they cannot guard him. So what they did is they made it a point to put as many bodies on him when he was coming off the line as possible. He couldn't run a clean route. So they had to find a way to beat him another way. And it's obvious that put a hitch in the Chiefs fans because they didn't come out to play until the second half. The whole first half, they're like trying to redo their whole offensive plan. It seemed as if they were trying to go through Travis Kelce, and the Patriots anticipated that. So it's even more than Tom Brady in New England. Tom Brady is excellent, and he's excellent because he plays great under pressure. But it's coaching. It's coaching. It's coaching, and the general managing is definitely at bliss with each other.
Yeah, it's all the system. Unlike any other sport, football is like its own. Like each team has its own language, its own way it's ran, and like it's like baseball. A lot of individuals can come together and make a play, and like a manager can like have changes, and you can be really statistical and like really smart with your swapping out people. But when it comes to football, it's completely like off. Like the way the team is ran off the field is I think is more important than what's on the field. Like that you're gonna get a better product on the field if people are in the meetings on time. If the whole organization is just fluid. Like I think about what it goes into, like what Coach Robinson had to do, and like how much went into like getting us meals and getting us on time and having us get to our workouts and just everything from its grassroots. Like these NFL players and like the organizations are great because there's an amazing process and it's just super easy to. I don't know. I just feel like New England's got a great system, a great process, and like everything is pristine. Same with like Alabama and all these teams that have been around for a long time that have been dominant. They just have an awesome system, and I don't know. I'm surprised to see the Chargers doing as well as they are because of all the changes they've had recently. But I don't really give two shits about them anymore. But you just seem like it seems like they're doing well. It seems like they're doing well for a team that like had to move a city, and then they have don't even have like a real stadium right now, and a newer coach and stuff like that. So it seems like being I think what are they 5-2? That seems pretty good.
Yeah, man, the Chargers are playing lights out, and it's funny when the Chargers moved. It seems as if a lot of the fan base they're pretty upset with the Spanos and different things like that. But when they move, it's almost like they moved with a brand new mindset on how to approach putting together a football
They
team.
moved. They moved when they had a bunch of great people in place. Like I love all their players. They were doing great with their draft picks and stuff, and they moved. And it's like I can't support their owners. Like it goes back to what we were talking about. I don't like the Spanos. I don't like the way they ran our team. I don't like what they did.
Yeah.
They got rid of Breeze, who's a Hall of Famer. Like they've gotten rid of a lot of people I thought they should have kept. You know what I mean? And like Schottenheimer, like that from like when I started to really understand back then, because I was still kind of young and only watched the game just for the game. And like that's when I started to learn more the deeper aspects of the sport, of every sport, and like I just realized that dang, like how come you got rid of that guy? And then you start looking at more trends of like why are you doing this? And then just watching him not even try to keep the team in San Diego, because he really could have tried more efforts to keep the team in San Diego. It just was like, damn, screw you. I love I love San Diego. I love going down there for games. I do not like going up to LA for games. It's a hassle. And it's like not that they made like a big change. They just like their organization was about like their players were about to start hitting their prime, and they had a system in place that was about to start to click because it was like a newer coach and it was like his second, third year I think, and that way they could have started. It could have been more seamless. And so I'm surprised when they uprooted and they moved, but I'm not happy they moved. But I'm still surprised that they were able to keep that system and let it like keep it getting better, like make it get better as they're making this move happen. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean they built their team around exactly where the NFL is going. The Chargers were a team who are always kind of in front of the curve in terms of offensive football, especially with Marty Schottenheimer there. They wanted to put on a show for the San Diego fans, and with Phillip Rivers, who's still going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I know you're mad you missed out on Drew Brees, but Phillip Rivers is one of the best quarterbacks out there. I'm a big Phillip Rivers fan.
Me too. Sorry, go ahead.
But the way this team is constructed with Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram on the defensive line, and everything else, I mean, just have faith. I don't think the Chargers are going to stay in LA. I would hope they don't stay in LA, because if they do, that means they'll be tenants of the Rams, and they'll be sad. They'll be putting all their future teams at risk.
Where else are they going to go? They're buying. They're like putting $500 million into the stadium. Like where else are they going to go? They're going to stay there. I just wish they would have changed their name. Just be a different team.
Just be a different team.
Yeah, just make up a new name. Be the Pelicans or some shit. I don't know. The LA Traffic. This should be the LA Traffic. The LA.
That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Be the LA Smog.
I I don't know, man. It's weird. It's that's probably one of the more bittersweet feeling teams in all of sports is the LA Chargers right now because they're doing so great, but it's almost like what's going on with this location thing because nobody cares about you in LA, and nobody will care about you.
They don't have an identity out there. No one gives a shit about them. People don't even realize the Chargers are there. They got like the LeBron in LA. You got the Kings. The King. I don't even want to get into the Kings right now because the Kings are fucking like the worst team right now. But there's just like the Dodgers that obviously in the World Series. Like, there's too much going on. You have if FC and UFC could put out a product. That'd be better, but I mean, I don't even think with how good the Rams are, like people even care in LA. But who am I? I'm in Arizona, so what do I know about LA people?
Yeah, right. LA people are a different breed, but yeah, I mean, we could get into the Kings. I watched the first game of the season, and it was weird living with you. The Kings were great, and we watched a lot of great Kings hockey. But watching that first game of the season, I'm like, wow. That's the same exact team I watched 2 years ago, 3 years ago on television. I don't see anybody new on this team. And I'm watching them against the San Jose Sharks, and I'm like, wow, the Sharks look fast. The Sharks look, it was tied up for a while, but, it was very obvious the way the Sharks were getting to the puck and how aggressive they were getting to the puck and how much control they were having on the puck and just basically skating circles around the Kings. That the Kings are old. They've lost not just one step or two. They've lost so many different steps in terms of speed on that team.
I think you're onto something here. It's like we have a core group of guys that are now in their 30s, 33, 30, 31. And when you have a team that's built around like nothing but just crafty veterans, like I think that's when you start to see it tank a little bit because we have young guys, but around the league there's young guys that are just playing at an elite level now. Not just young guys that are good and can chip in and can make the system work so that the stars can take over, but like our stars are starting to become older and we don't have like a young like Connor McDavid or Sebastian Aho or Pedersen or Austin Matthews, right? Like we don't have like that young kid that's like just a superstar, and I think it's gonna take maybe a year or maybe two of being shit and then going and getting a top draft pick and then having him turn our season around, which I won't be surprised because like we could suck right now and then turn it around and make a push. But if we don't turn it around soon, we're gonna suck too much for too long early, and we're gonna create too big of a gap to turn around. And like and so what worries me is that like the Kings aren't really showing like Dustin Brown came back, so that made our power play a lot better, give us a lot more energy, makes our top line function better. But having a power play that's functional is extremely important, and Dustin Brown kills penalties, so he's a very pivotal player. I actually still wish he had the captain on our team because I just love the way he plays the game. But other than that, like I just haven't seen anything from the Kings to make me excited, to show me hope, to show me, oh, this kid's playing well. Maybe if we can just fix this and this, we'll turn it around and start kicking ass. It's just I just don't see it this year. I think Quickie went down. Quickie's going to be down for a while again. So I don't think it's going to be the Kings' year, but I look forward to still the league because there's just so much other great hockey being played. Just sucks I won't be able to be as stoked when the Kings are on. I'll actually probably be looking to watch a different team. I want to watch a team that's high powered, that's got that's like just clicking on all cylinders. Not watch my team that's like really struggling. But I'll probably either way I'll probably end up choosing to watch the Kings over anybody else. Who am I kidding? But it just sucks not being able to watch our star athletes play like I used to see them.
I mean, right now, who I want to watch this year is definitely the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think it's awesome that John Tavares went up there to try to resurrect this franchise. I mean, that's who I'm trying to watch this year.
Well, Austin Matthews is out for the month, the hurt shoulder, but he'll be back. He'll be back strong. You could see when he got hurt. After he got hurt, he stopped scoring as much, and I think they finally shut him down because I think he could play through it, but he just was not. He was not putting up the points, and I think it was like lingering enough where they're like, all right, we're shutting you down so it doesn't get worse. So he's out for a while.
Yeah, and in other parts of that team are going to have to learn how to get better without Austin Matthews. For when he comes back to a better team. So, I mean, hockey's a great sport, dude. Hockey's a great sport, and there's a lot of small markets. Like, hockey's almost like a it's your turn type of sport. Like, it's almost like everybody is getting their turn in hockey. Everybody is got their turn to be good. Especially if they're so bad, if they're at the top of that draft, there's always going to be an excellent player they can get. And the Kings are one of those teams that if they get a top of the draft type of player with that organization and the type of glory that comes with being great as a Kings hockey player, you know, a young player can definitely thrive in that type of environment. It seems Kings fans know hockey, and they're not going to put the pressure on a kid to be great, like just the next Crosby out of nowhere. But they're definitely going to be patient with him and expect the best and give him the support that he needs.
I love how hockey is incorporating Canada legalized marijuana, so I think the NHL has to become way more liberal with it. I think that's going to hopefully pave the way for other sports, but I don't like CBD is very, very predominant in the sport. Like, a lot of players use it to stop inflammation and help them get through the season, and I think they're very progressive. So I just think hockey's doing a lot of things right, and you look at it, more fans are coming to the sport every single year. They're just it's a beautiful sport to watch, be a part of. It's the players, the culture, the old school culture. If you never knew old school culture, it's a bunch of beauty of humans. Just go out, get trashed, wake up late, get to the rink barely on time, hardly even do a warm up, and then go out there and play your ass off. It's just like, it's a party mentality. Nowadays, kids are more of a nerds. They're more like go home and play Fortnite because they're so young, and come out and then just have sauce, just dirty hands everywhere, and more of a fast game rather than just like a brutal chucking knucks and punching people in the face and hitting them and then getting fucked up. But I still love the way the sport's being played, and it's got such a unique, different culture behind it. I wish more people would get involved with, because I feel like they would love it. And but yeah, back to the CBD thing. I wish more like sports promoted CBD, because I use it all the time, and it's fantastic for like my soreness, for cognitive function, for just like it just helps when I'm sore as hell, and I don't want to take a bunch of ibuprofen or a bunch of Vicodin, stuff like that. It's ridiculous. So for hockey is just leading the way in a lot of different fronts, and that's what I'm really impressed with. What do you think is CBD in like the NFL, baseball? What do you think of players using CBD oil?
Truthfully, I have no idea, dude. I mean, you know my past with medicinal marijuana and different things like that. I have no idea how much better it is than what's already at their advantage. I don't know if it's a lot better. I really don't. And I'm going to leave that up to the people in charge of it.
Gotcha.
If it is, you know, even the same type of, you know, relief, yeah, for sure it should be legal. You know, then the legality starts to be based off of, you know, where the source is coming from, whether or not the government can control the source of where it's coming from, since it's a farmer's crop and anybody can grow it. You know, taxation now becomes an issue.
Yeah.
So I've always thought that that's the issue with CBD and marijuana, as it is, you know.
I just have never seen, maybe if I research, or maybe I just haven't been included in, but I'm pretty tuned into the league, and I just don't see a lot of players getting suspended for marijuana. I don't feel like you see a lot of people, like you look at Josh Gordon, top pick, top like high level player, and you know his whole storyline is he's out another year because of marijuana stuff, and like you never see that with a high end athlete. Like you never see, like, you know, obviously Sidney Crosby a bad idea, but you never just see like a top end person go down and get kicked out or suspended for a couple of weeks or months because of their use of marijuana. I think it's just the league is a little bit more liberal, and I wish more people were like that. I got a side question for you though about like the partnerships with the sports books and the MGM, with the NBA and the NHL signing those new sponsorships and getting in bed with betting. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's great. I do think it's opening a Pandora's box and a half, I mean, and it's not even just for big time sports. I think betting and gambling is great for big time sports because big time athletes are not going to take a fall. You're not going to see tampering with big time sports because people have more to play for than, than a quick buck here and there, Where I see the issue is Division II football, Division II basketball, small team basketball, and in college, different things like that, where players are not getting paid. There's a huge issue of amateurism in college sports. But in the pros in basketball, there's more to be made from being a superstar and from making the correct play than there is from taking money underneath the table. And if that's the case, that's an evil that comes with gambling. That's an evil that comes with progression. And to not want to do something simply because it's going to give you a new set of problems is scared. You're acting scared.
Well, Dave, let me jump in. I mean, like those problems exist whether they have those partnerships or not. So like those people can just as easy do like fuck with the sport and place bets against their own team and try to mess with their own sport just as much as it will with those sponsorships or not. So
but the money is much bigger if it's legal. The purse becomes that much bigger because more people are involved if it's now legal.
Mm-hmm.
So, that can easily change somebody's mind. If it goes from making $600,000 to making $4 million because you decide to botch the kick, that can definitely change your mind. And that's what the legality does for all this is it ups the purse. It ups the money to be made because there's more money circulating in the business. So, and particularly basketball where there's only 10 people on the court at a time and the teams are very small, I don't see things like that happening. But like I said before, how the cliche goes, scared money don't make money. If you're going to make the decision not to do something simply because it's going to give you a new set of problems, then you're not in the right business. Big time business is not for you if you're afraid of new problems.
Yeah.
There's a book that I read called The 10 Times Rule. And a new set of problems is always a great indicator that you're progressing. It's always a great indicator that you're doing more. And problems are something to be accepted. Some problems are something to look forward to and anticipate because problems means that you're still getting after it. If your problems have been the same for the last 5 years, the last 10 years, yeah, exactly. You're staying in the same spot. So when it comes to gambling, of course, any progressive move that any of these sports leagues were to make for the betterment of their sport would have problems. If anybody would be upset about the problems that it brings, then they need to start coming up with solutions because progression is inevitable, especially when it comes to business. When it comes to making money, progression is inevitable. So yeah, gambling is inevitable. It's going to be legal, and the sports leagues that take advantage of its legality and figure out how to accept it before it's legal, figure out how to implement it before it's legal at a widespread rate, those are the companies that are going to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And those are the people who are going to be leaders in solving those issues, solving those problems before they end up at their doorstep. So Adam Silver with the NBA, he's doing the right thing. He's saying, look, we got a humongous opportunity here to put more money into our league. He understands that with the traction the NBA has right now, they need more traction. They need more. They cannot settle. The NBA cannot afford to settle. The NFL cannot afford to settle. The hockey cannot afford to settle where they are. Baseball, I feel like, is settling. Baseball cannot afford to settle where they are. And the moment you try to settle in today's world of massive information at our fingertips, the moment is the moment you become a dinosaur. There really is no room for staying still. So Adam Silver doing this, he's going to be written down in the history books as a trailblazer, bringing in gambling with the NFL or with the NBA, and he's going to be a trailblazer of doing it and conquering a lot of the early problems with it. And then other leagues are now going to follow suit, and they're going to have their say and getting together the issues in it, and whatever happens. Whatever happens for any sort of game throwing, anything like that they find, it will come up. I think we're naive to sit here and say that it will not come up, that people will not throw games. It will come up, and it will make big headlines, but it will be solved. And I don't think anybody, any sports league, any sports organization, any business should not make a move towards progression for the fear that it's going to cause a problem.
Yeah, I think
they should just look forward to solving that problem.
Yeah, I think it's gonna bring its own problems. You're right, like it said, like when you reach a new plane, or when you level up or are progressing, it does create a new sets of problems. And if you don't have any new problems, maybe you've become too complacent.
Yeah.
So I support it. I think it's great. I think the idea of having virtual reality seats is awesome too. Like they're talking about that, having like VR headsets where you can buy them and like you're literally sitting in the game and you can like just watch the game on a VR headset like you're at the game. I think that's a great idea. But also it's going to discourage way more people from going to the game. But shit, I mean, already enough people aren't going, so might as well figure out how to make money from the people that want to stay home.
Yeah, and I warn people of caution with gambling, though. If you're a true sports fan, if you love sports, you may want to stay away from gambling because let me tell you, it takes away quite a bit of the enjoyment, especially if you have your money in different places throughout, like on a Sunday with football. If you're betting on different games, if you got different things going on here and there, you know, you're no longer enjoying the sport of football. You're only looking for, you're now watching football with wishful thinking. And with every play, you could be let down. And it could really take away from the enjoyment of the experience of just being a sports fan. So that's also included in the Pandora's box. There could be sports fans that no longer want to be sports fans because of, what gambling has done for them. Gambling is addicting. So
it's fun. I mean, John and my brother are gonna come on here and they're gonna totally talk about gambling, how it makes the sports more fun, and how the guys I have on David Tissage and Nathan Tissage, who I have on next on Sunday, they're gonna talk about how all we're talking about is gambling. I think I get what you're saying, like. You know, if you want to watch the sport at its purest form and just enjoy it and think of all the angles, and then yeah, like gambling. But if you don't want to gamble, but if you want to gamble, you're going to be narrowed into like this is what I need to happen. This is what needs to happen. I gotta watch it like this. I get it, but that to counter that point, the other side of that point is like you could literally make a game like a D2 game that nobody cares about that's played on a Friday. You could put money on it, and all of a sudden it's the Super Bowl for you. So that's the other side of gambling, is you can make any game super exciting at the same time.
Very true. Very, very, very true. Very true. But with that excitement, there is an equally sized dip of downside. So as high as you can get with excitement is as low as you can get with disappointment. Yeah. But like I said before, scared money don't make money. So gambling is necessary. It's what's going to happen in the United States. There's no reason to not give a U.S. citizen the right to gamble. And because that is an inevitable fact, sports leagues around the world or around the nation really need to look forward and put in a lot of effort in seeing exactly how their sports league is going to welcome gambling.
Yeah,
not
it's just a trend.
Gambling, not work around it, welcome it with open arms.
Yeah,
and anticipate the issues, anticipate the headlines, anticipate the work that's going to need to be done once it's implemented. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So with baseball, it was weird watching the playoffs and watching some of the games because for the first time I saw Gary Sanchez do an interview, and I saw him with an interpreter while he was doing the interview. And I'm just paying attention to baseball during the playoffs, and I'm like, wow, is baseball one of the more diverse sports in America right now?
Oh, 100%.
And it's crazy that I really feel that most Americans do not understand how diverse baseball has gotten. Because to be honest, when I grew up playing baseball, it was a white boy sport. And in the city where I grew up in Temecula, California, it was a white boy sport, and I always felt out of my element when I played baseball. I really felt like, I was just by myself out there. And then you look at the grand scheme of things. You look at not only that it's diverse, but they're bringing their cultures with them. Now, like they're celebrating after home runs, throwing bats and stuff like that. And you're seeing a clash of cultures in baseball because now a pitcher's coming back and throwing a fastball near their head because they celebrate it. But that's just how they play baseball where they're from. And it's crazy that baseball isn't marketing itself off the premise of being one of the more diverse sports in America right now. Because with that comes different demographics now tuning into baseball simply because they see somebody who looks like them play the game.
I gotcha. What was the question?
My bad. Why do you think baseball is not capitalizing off the premise of diversity?
That's a good question. I don't know. You're right. I mean, like, everybody is it seems like more and more players every single year are coming from the South America areas, and I don't know. I think they could do a lot more to celebrate the culture and the different, like, all these different people coming from the Dominican Republic, the Cuba and other areas in South America. I think they could do a lot better job of incorporating the culture. It's not just America's pastime anymore, and I think anybody to think it's that it's just America's sport is foolish. And it's like people would joke that, like, I back in the day, people would joke like it's the World Series, but it's only an American sport. It's like only it's only a contest held in America. It's not like we have a world tournament for baseball, other than, like, it's not the Olympics. So, like, we have world tournaments, but the World Series is for the MLB, which is all in America.
Yeah.
But I think that the name kind of fits it now because the diversity. It's like, it is literally the World Series. Look at the people that are playing for the World Series. It's like all people from all over the world. So I don't know how they would start celebrating more. Like, it seems like you've put some more thought into this than I have. Like, what are some ways the league can celebrate that culture that you've thought of?
I mean, just marketing. One thing that just went into my head while we were talking right now is a way to market towards the inner city with rappers. You saw the LA Rams when they played the Minnesota Vikings. It was a big game at the Coliseum. And you had YG sitting there at the goal line celebrating with one of the Rams players after they scored a touchdown. Now, the Dodgers just went to the World Series. This was a regular season NFL game that we had a very well-known rapper being shown as a publicity stunt. The Dodgers just went to the World Series, and we had World Series games in LA. No publicity. No publicity to get new fans. Now, it doesn't matter. You said baseball market themselves as America's greatest pastime, and it has for a very long time. But in 2018, the Times begged the question that what about any of America's pastimes is all that great? What's great about America right now is the progression that we've moved forward from anything in the past. And everything that is new based upon really asking ourselves what was so bad about what we have been doing. So baseball was one of the bigger sports that's been around for a while. So baseball went through segregation. There was segregation in baseball. It's just crazy. It's bananas to think how far baseball has gone just naturally without even trying to push it that way. This is how far baseball has gone. Well, just imagine if they were to try to push it, how much more diverse it would get, how much more storylines they would get, how much more baseball would become big.
Well, they have started doing some series down in Mexico and across down in other countries. I do remember the Dodgers playing the Padres down in Mexico City. So they are starting to do some of the stuff like the NFL is to try to have people more access to the league. And same with the NHL. The NHL just had a 2-game series where they had a couple of the Florida. I think it was the Panthers and the Jets were over in Sweden and Finland for 2 games just now, and then they're flying back now. So I think baseball is working towards it, trying to get more diversity. I think that's the way you do it is have more events based around their culture, their theme, celebrate a lot of different countries, like traditions, their holidays, like baseball night. Like if it's a major holiday, make sure everybody knows about it when like you come back from commercial. You know what I mean? It's like hockey night in Canada. They always do that Saturday night, but you can have different reasons to like just like this game is this kind of celebration down in the Dominican Republic. Like I don't know any of their traditions, any of their holidays. But it would be nice for the sport when you come back from commercial, say this game's presented by blah 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 blah, and like this, like, just tell me more about the tradition. But also having more games played down there, that would be a good idea to develop the more culture, I guess, from that they could.
And more celebrities like who are associated with the culture that they would like to be a part of out there. Showing it in commercials, different things like that. Join Snoop Dogg and the Dodgers take on the Red Sox in Game 3 of the in Games 3 of the World Series, and now you have a promotion with Snoop Dogg on TV. Like you're just appealing to a different market, and I don't really see baseball have any sort of attempt to. They have quite a bit of Hispanics, Dominicans. They can have anybody on their commercials, really anybody. To help them, because obviously they need help. A lot of what's good about baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers, and we're playing the Dodgers, and I'm listening on the Sports Center about all these guys who are great on the Milwaukee Brewers. I have never heard of any of them before. They're talking about this guy's a great hitter, this guy's a great athlete, this guy's this guy is great, and I consider myself a big sports fan. How do you have sports fans not even knowing the names of your players that are great?
Well, because honestly, David, I don't think you watch the MLB Network. Like if you watch ESPN, if you get
that's the place to go.
Yeah, everything. That's the way it is these days. Like we goes back to like people talking about when we were talking about your on the block sports. It's like they want you to have an agenda. They're not going to talk about all these different people. They're going to talk about what's like on the agenda. What's going to like catch the most ears across the board, and like you're gonna like. So if you want the true breakdown, go to the NFL Network, go to the NHL Network, go to the MLB Network, and watch that every night, and you'll start to pick up like who's hot, who's not. But it's hard because there's so many different big athletes and so many people with different sports and people to pay attention to that if you don't dive into each sport individually, you're gonna miss out a ton. Like I have no idea what's going on in college football right now. I have a tab open that I was researching just in case we started talking about college football to figure out who the top 10 were, dude. I have no idea who's good this year. It's like
I would say that college football is amateur sports. So, in more of a professional setting, we can sit here and start thinking about the NFL and basketball, just two of the top 3 professional sports in America, and hockey, and we can start naming off players that are the best in that field. Now, I get what you're saying where I should reach out to the MLB Network, but I would say that as a league, as a sports league, you never want to put the responsibility to become aware of what's going on in the hands of your consumers. You always want to extend that reach yourself instead of making your consumers extend their efforts to find what's going on. I think that's a way of saying, we're good. We're good off new fans. We're good off of people knowing more.
Yeah, you're saying like you got to create some new ways to get me more eager to watch it. But you look like they've done something with the baseball, like where like the baseball's flying out of the park at a higher rate than it ever has before. So instead of getting guys juiced up on steroids, they literally like tighten the balls so that the balls are a little harder, and then when it gets hit, it flies. It goes faster. They got new stats for people to watch and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like if you can't enjoy baseball now at its core, then like you can't. There's not going to be any amount of gimmicks they can throw at you to make you like baseball. If you want a faster paced sport, then go watch hockey, basketball, football. Even football's slow to me. So many more commercials. You hardly get any playing. I can hardly watch like a lot of football this day and age because it's such a slow sport. So I laugh because I'm like, even in between pitches, if you're a baseball fan, you are thinking about every possibility. Should he throw over again? He just threw it. He just threw a high fastball. So now the hitter's eye is looking at a high fastball. Let's see if he throws a high splitter because that's going to drop.
That's a commercial, though. That's a commercial, though, that you just explained for me right now, Andrew, is in the mind of a baseball fan. That's a commercial that baseball needs to be doing in order to very much center in on what is exactly exciting about the sport. Because while the NFL games are taking longer, I think they have taken excitement and took it in an abstract form. And now they've created the NFL where there's a lot more high-stake plays going on. So not necessarily fast gameplay, but every play they want to make it that it's a high-stake play. They want the ball going through the air and creating that anticipation, that excitement of what's going to happen when this ball comes down out the air, who's going to make a play on it, different things like that. Now, they've showed that point of view quite a bit of times in a lot of different football commercials, just the pause of the ball in the air. They showed, pass rushing at its best. They showed a lot of different things like that. It'd be great if baseball were to reach out to it'd be great to just see the effort, because we see the effort in the NBA. We see the dunks, we see the three-pointers from Steph Curry. We see them exploiting what is so great about their league. I don't see baseball. I see baseball saying, well, it is what it is, and if you like it, you like it. But sometimes you have to put forth the effort to make someone like it. Now, right now, you just made me look at baseball in a much different perspective than I have ever had. Asking myself, what's going to happen next with the placement of the pitches?
Oh, yeah.
That's drama. That's cinematography that can be put into a commercial in order to establish excitement from people who were not excited before.
I mean, it's tough if you didn't like already know the sport and play the sport. It's not something that like you can see, so it may not be as exciting as like, okay, like once you figure out offsides in hockey, or once you figure out what icing is, and like you can start figuring out how to watch the sport and how exciting it is, and you don't really have to play it to be able to know, okay, they need to do this, and then they can get a goal. With baseball, like unless you have somebody there like explaining to you all of the scenarios, like I don't know, it's going to be a harder message to convey. Than just like, because you can't just watch them, like it's not exciting to watch them think about all the different outcomes. But I do feel like if you restructure the way the game is played, tying it back into what we were talking about before, if you restructure the way the season is run, when you have every single pitch matters throughout the whole season, but it's amplified when it's the playoffs, because like you have to win, and when you have 162 games, you can afford to lose, right? So you can toss a game; it's not a big deal. But like, if you make the playoffs longer, you make every pitch matter, and people are going to be drawn in more closely to the scenarios, unless it's an 18-inning game and people stop giving a shit. So I just feel like what you can do is did you just text me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could just edit out any sort of conversation, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, basically, I forget what I was saying. My roommate just wanted me to. He just texted me asking me to talk about how overrated Ohio State is. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
How overrated Ohio State is only overrated this year. Let's look at like when it comes to college football. For me, the state of your school is not necessarily how many national championships you win, but how many great players you put into the NFL. And Ohio State is putting in players in the NFL who are going to have long careers at an alarming rate. Urban Meyer did this at Florida. He did it at Utah. Urban Meyer creates professional football players. So when it comes to Ohio State, they're incredibly overrated this year. Very much overrated, and you can almost say that in a year, right now they're getting beat by Nebraska, so maybe that's why he's talking about they're getting beat 21-16 by Nebraska at halftime, which they have no business getting beat 21-16. I even tweeted that Ohio State better beat Nebraska by about 30 points. But
so this year they're overrated. I got you. Yeah, they usually have a pretty good squad.
They're 7-1, and they're having one of their worst years in recent history. Let's remember when Urban Meyer came to Ohio State, and they're under immense sanctions to the point where they couldn't even go to a national title.
Yeah.
They went undefeated for 2 years in a row. I mean, Ohio State is the class they are the school of the Big Ten, and they've been running shit in the Big Ten for a long time.
Okay, so yeah, so what else? We'll have Brandon listen to this part and tell him that he just think it's overrated for this year. And I'll have you hear about the take. And anytime you gotta go, you just let me know, man. This podcast is not strict. You just go, dude. I gotta go to work. Let me go and leave. But I want to have you back on again, man. It's always fun. We'd even hit music. We haven't talked about like what you're doing on a daily basis. I had a question for you about like why do referees in basketball not wear rollerblades? Like how much easier would their job be if they could just roll around? So much easier. They'd be like, all right, like this job is chill. And I gotta, I don't know if you have time to comment on that, but like, how come they don't wear rollerblades? It's so much easier.
Man, you know, it's so hard to even begin to try to comment. To have a serious.
Do you have any idea how gay that would look if like they just pulled up, stopped with the hand raise, like, and then the and one, bam, like they throw the hip out, like stop and one.
You're thinking next level, bro. That's like the future of sports right there. That's like a movie like how rollerball. They have rollerball. That's exactly what the lane you're in right now.
I'm just talking about the referees, not the basketball players, just the referees. Like you could.
I know. They got some rollerblades by Nike out there.
I could just see them like rolling, like slowly rolling, but like tuned in on the shot, just like with their whistle in their mouth as they're just rolling. Just too many funny images come to mind. But I'll let you go for now, man. Sorry if I made you late. In a couple,
no, not at all.
We'll figure it out, and then text me a couple of ideas or text me what you want. I can start typing up. You just want me to do like a conspiracy thing, so I actually have one. I'll text you after this, and maybe I'll type up a little synopsis about it.
All right, cool. And then if you want me on any other podcasts, just go ahead and text me, bro. I could call in at any time.
Yeah, we will. Usually I have Friday through Sundays off, so usually any day during the morning, like what we do at this time would be perfect. So we'll get more and we'll get more in, and we'll get some more funny topics going because I feel like this one we went right into the sports. We just had a lot of sports talk, but we'll do some more goofy. I haven't listened to too much music. You can catch me up on some music, and I can catch you up on some of the tunes I've been listening to. You gotta go to work right now though.
Like in the next 10 minutes, I gotta get ready.
Okay. So you said you got 10 more. I can let you go now if you got to jam out of there.
No, I got like 10 minutes.
Okay. This is what I want to talk to you about. The Alabama-LSU game tonight. Who do you think is going to win, and what do you think the final score is going to be?
All right, so in college football, this is where we get into shaky grounds. Well, every sports opinionist or columnist in college football, if they're predicting games, it's a very volatile sport to try to predict games. But the way I go in college football is I'm more of a wishful thinker than I know what's going to happen, because I find more comfort into what I wish is going to happen and rooting for what I wish is going to happen.
Yeah, here's what I want to see. Yeah, here's what I want to see happen, and rather than just like this is what I think is going to happen. Like this is more fun to talk about. Is what I hope happens.
Right, because we're watching 18 to 20-year-old players out there. There's nothing consistent about college football. That's why Alabama is more of an outlier. But I got LSU tonight.
Oh, they're at home, yeah.
They're at home, number one. I think Alabama's defense is not as good as people think, at all. I think Tua, their quarterback, while he is a phenomenal college player, he's had knee issues on non-contact plays way too often. He's about to play a very physical LSU team, very physical defense, and a team that is going to want to come after Alabama's head tonight. Now, that's not a good mix when you have a quarterback battling a knee injury, who is a mobile quarterback, battling a knee injury that he's hurt multiple occasions without even being touched. He hurt his knee sliding for a first down one time, okay? He's going to be playing against a bunch of the number 3 team in the nation that's trying to take his head off. Now, I watched LSU play my team, Miami, and totally dismantled us. They played around with us like little kids on a playground. Now, Miami's not that good this year, and I've already cried about that. But LSU playing Florida, I honestly think that was lightning in a bottle for Florida. They got caught completely off guard, which is what happens in college sports. But yeah, I got LSU tonight for sure.
Okay. What do you think the final is going to be? The final score?
I don't know about particular numbers, but I think LSU is going to win by about 7 to 10 points.
7 to 10. Give me.
Yeah.
All right. I was trying to get you to give me. I just want to see how close you actually are.
I want to say 20 to 28.
20 to 28. I like it. I was thinking 30.
20 to 28.
I was thinking 35 to 24. I
like that too, but I don't know if LSU has it in them to score that many points.
Oh, I'm thinking Bama winning. I'm taking Bama winning 33 to 35.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is
Bama's first test.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. They haven't played anybody at all.
Yeah,
and that's why I think they're going
to have a test.
I think they're going to
have your first test.
They're going to get popped in the mouth, hands down, no question. You brought up one last funny thing I wanted to say is you're right. When it comes to amateur sports, these kids it'd be funny if they actually started talking really what can affect the game. I don't know, Bill. He's only 20 years old. His girlfriend from high school. He just found out she was cheating on him. I don't know if his head's gonna be all in the game here. And his mom couldn't make it to the game. She decided to go to Bunko instead. So I really don't think he's gonna perform at his top level. And he's not getting paid anything. So there's really no incentive. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, that's such a legitimate analysis.
Yeah, that's how it should be. He's got 3 finals due next week. I think he's not going to pass. He's really worried about things off the court right now, and his grandpa's sick. So I'm not sure if Alabama's going to be all there this game.
Yeah, that's the analysis they should be having for these little kids, and it's crazy because we're talking about kids. We're talking about young adults.
He's got a science project due next week, and his teammates on the science project aren't pulling their weight, and he's stressing about getting it in on time.
Right, and he doesn't have any money in his pocket because he's too busy playing football.
He forgot to eat breakfast. He's only had a Smucker's. I don't think he's gonna have a lot of strength this year or this today.
Right. He's been on national television for the entire year, every Saturday, but has no money.
He took Adderall all night last night. He couldn't get off his Adderall, and he slept no sleep last night. He's playing Fortnite way too long.
All right, he's got pills, but no money.
Yeah, he's racking up way too much debt. He's worried about his future success. I don't think his head's going to be in the game here, Bob.
He's racking up way too much debt.
His parents want him to stay in state.
But he moved across country, so the time difference has really affected him. Dude, it's a lot that goes on in their minds.
But he has rushed for over 100 yards. They tie it back into the game. But he has rushed for over 100 yards consistently. I think he's going to be all there. His ACL looks like it's repaired. If he can push out all the other pressure he has, his balls are dropping. He doesn't know if he's going to do well in Fortnite tonight. If he can push that away, I think he's going to perform at his top of his ability.
He's going bald early, so that's a big thing. Yeah, dude. It's crazy watching. I watch a lot of coverage on college football. College football is probably my number one league that I'm most obsessed with because of how much movement goes on, and it's essentially the future of the biggest league in America, the NFL. We're watching the future every Saturday in college football. So, and it's just crazy the dynamic of schools. Like the crowds are crazy, the band is crazy. It's just a different culture than the NFL. And it's just nuts watching these schools go at it. And a question for you: you told me you didn't even know who was in the top 10, so this may be hard for you to answer. But who do you got going in the playoffs? Who do you think is the best team in the nation right now? You think it's Alabama?
Well, I mean, like I said, that's a hard question because I've just been so out of tune with it, and I don't know who's I don't know who's like had like why this is hard for me to answer is I don't know who's had the hardest schedule, and I want to say Alabama because even though they've had an easy schedule, they're smoking teams the way they should be smoking teams. It's not like they're in a tough fight, like they're working people. So I don't see any reason, but they haven't been tested, and you may show your true colors if you're tested. I know Clemson has battled injury at the quarterback position, and they've been able to stay pretty consistent there, and they got a really good secondary. So I do think I'm going to see Clemson in the top 4. I do think I'm going to see the winner of this game, Alabama LSU, in the top 4. I don't know who Notre Dame has played, but they're like one of the only other undefeated teams. And UCF isn't it their second year in a row going undefeated right now so far?
See, when it comes to small schools, whether they're Division I or not, I really feel like it's like mixing oil with water.
So they're not even Division I?
No, they are. They're just a small Division I school. They don't play anybody. They don't play anybody at all. And for small schools like that, it's hard to get an Alabama to play you. It's hard to get decent teams to play you because there's no upside to playing you. If we beat you, we just beat a small team. You beat Central Florida. Good for you. But if you beat us, then who are we now?
Yeah.
And now it's Central Florida beat us. Now it's such a horrible thing for us. So there really is no upside to scheduling a team like Central Florida for them. And then now how are you going to compare apples and oranges in a Central Florida going undefeated and just because they beat a bunch of horrible teams like Marshall, a bunch of really small schools that do not get 5-star recruits just because they beat them. Now we're supposed to compare them. Now we're supposed to compare them to University of Georgia. Now if Alabama or LSU beats the University of Georgia in the SEC championship, are we really going to put a UCF in over Georgia? No, because I feel like if Georgia plays UCF, they're going to dismantle them.
Yeah, beat the brakes off them. Yeah, it sucks because college football plans its schedule like 5 years in advance. So like you never really know if you're going to be playing somebody good or like somebody. You know what I mean? Like if you could schedule it next year, you'd be like, all right, UCF, you're going to be stepping up. You're going to be playing these big boys so you can earn it. But now you're going to have to wait to see that for a few years because they're probably scheduling that. It's just down the road a little bit. And those teams might not be as good down the road. But I'm going. And
even then, they may get one big team to get them. I mean, like I said, remember Boise State back when we were in high school, how big Boise State was and how they were going undefeated, how they were making a bunch of noise. Boise State never got their chance.
Well,
they never got their chance to be on the national stage.
Remember that one, however they won it, that Statue of Liberty play or whatever, they just handed it off to him.
Yeah.
That was such a sneaky, well executed trick play. I love that. I think that it's going to be Alabama because they're going to win tonight. Clemson, Georgia, and Oklahoma.
Alabama, Clemson. You think Georgia goes to the SEC championship game?
They can't because they played Clemson, right?
Nah. Georgia is eventually going to meet either the winner of Alabama and LSU in the SEC championship game.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so okay. So I think Clemson.
Last year Georgia beat Bama in the SEC championship game, and they still let Bama into the playoffs even after they lost in the SEC championship. Okay.
I'm going Alabama, Clemson. Dang, Michigan, Ohio State's going to be a hell of a game this year. Ohio State's losing.
I think Michigan's got them.
Ohio State's losing.
Sure.
Ohio State's losing to Nebraska right now. That's what Brandon just walked in here and showed. He hates Ohio State more than he hates any team at all.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, the only two teams I hate in the nation are University of Florida and Florida State. Those are the only two that I hate.
You must have loved Florida State's year this year. They suck.
Man, Florida State is trash, and it's all because Jimbo Fisher left. It's going to be hard for Florida State to be good without Jimbo. Because I'm looking at Texas A&M play Auburn right now, and Texas A&M is the 20th team in the nation with 3 losses. They look good. They look so good that they got 3 losses, and they're still the 20th team in the nation. So Jimbo Fisher's the reason why Florida State is so trash right now. It's because they lost the best coach they've ever had.
Yeah. So Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma.
You got Oklahoma in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't even watch. I'm just like looking at the names and picking a name. And the winner of Ohio State, Michigan.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say Georgia. I think Georgia's going to come out the SEC. Because I think LSU is going to beat Bama, and I think Georgia's going to beat LSU in the SEC championship. I got Georgia. I got Michigan. I got Clemson. And my last one's probably going to be Notre Dame because they play a week year this year. They beat Michigan first game of the year, and if Michigan's in, you got to let the undefeated team that beat them in.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. So you give me yours. Your breakdown is going to be better than mine. Alabama. You think Notre Dame's in? Who was the first one you picked? Georgia?
Yeah, I picked Georgia.
Georgia, Notre Dame. In no particular order.
I picked Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan, and Clemson.
Okay. Dang, my roommate's going to hate you. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I got Clemson winning it all. I think Clemson is a beast of a team right now. I got Clemson winning it all.
Interesting. I'll go look at their scores and see who they've beaten, how they've beaten them. Dave, we got to get you out here to Arizona. You got to meet the roommates. You got to come see where I'm living these days. It's beautiful, and your brother has been out a couple of times now, and he's a big fan of the place. So hopefully I can see you out here soon, someday.
Yeah, dude. I'd love to come out soon. It's about to be our slow season here at work, so I'll definitely have time then next month.
I literally just let me know because I am like sometimes I'm busy. Like lately, next year I'll be a lot more free. But my weekends this end of the year have been crazy with the holidays and traveling. But just let me know because I have 3-day weekends like literally every weekend, so I'm always free on the weekends.
All right, dude.
All right, man. Get to work. It was good talking to you, and we'll figure out when you can come on again soon, and we'll talk more about the on the books, and we'll figure out what I can do for the NHL.
Yeah, no problem, bro. And then just send me the edited version of this when you get a chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's not gonna be too much editing. I'm just gonna listen to it all the way through once and be like, all right, where can I shorten it? But other than that, I'm just gonna put it out there. Hopefully, people like it.
All right, cool.
All right, man. You have a good rest of your day.
All right, bro. Peace.
All right, bruh. See ya. And that's all she wrote, boys and girls.